Once upon a balloon. Theo and Zeke's cousin gave them 4 balloons. Zeke took 3 and handed Theo one, a small green one with a long orange string. With all 4 balloons weaving this way and that, Theo's father had to strain to see out the car's back window. Before they got out of the car, Theo's mom offered to tie Theo's balloon to his wrist. But Theo said no. "Don't let go of the string," said his mom. "Don't let go of the string," said his dad. "Don't let go of the string," said his brother Zeke. He told Theo that if he did, he wouldn't give him another one because he would waste that one too. Theo thought Zeke was probably right. Theo tried to hold on, he really did. He stared at his hand and told it to stay closed, but it didn't want to listen. He clenched his fist so tight his knuckles turned white, but his fingers had other plans. Theo watched the string slip from his hand. The balloon drifted upwards slowly at first, and then in a hurry. His brother scowled, his dad shrugged, and his mom sighed. Higher and higher the balloon rose, past the trees and telephone lines, dodging buildings and birds until it was a tiny speck. And then it was gone. There was no green dot floating against the big blue sky. Theo knew it must be up there somewhere, but where? Inside, Theo's dad was working at the computer. "Where did my balloon go?" Theo asked. His dad looked at him and smiled. "The moon." "How else do you think it stays up there?" Theo didn't believe him. Theo's mom was painting. He asked her where his balloon had gone. "Oh, it probably popped when the air pressure changed way up high," she said. Theo didn't believe her, but just in case, he went outside to see if any pieces of popped balloon had landed on the ground. There was nothing there, so he went to find his brother. "Do you know where my balloon is?" he asked his brother. "Chicago," Zeke said, peering through the tower he had built. "It's a little-known fact that all lost balloons end up in Chicago." Zeke explained that Chicago was quite far away, and was also known as the Windy City. Balloons from around the world followed the wind to Chicago. He said it had something to do with science, migration patterns, and wind tunnels created by invisible jets. Then he told Theo about Frank. Frank was in charge of the balloons that landed in Chicago. His official title, Nocturnal City Collection Custodian, was one Frank had held for over 35 years. Night after night, to avoid disturbing the public, Frank loaded his box of balloon-grabbing tools into his truck. There was a pincher, which could grab hold of any balloon string, the fork, useful for combing balloons from tree branches, and the hook, best used in hard-to-reach places. And lastly, there was Frank's trusty twister. Zeke said Frank was tired and wanted to retire. For 10 years, the city had posted an ad in the newspaper looking for a replacement. Not one person had ever applied. Frank's boss gave him a night off once, said Zeke, but a bunch of 110th birthday balloons from Japan caused a traffic jam on the highway. Zeke knew everything about everything, so he knew everything about Frank. He said that every night Frank carried a full bag of balloons back to his warehouse. Then he dreamed about creating a robot that could do his job. A robot that wouldn't mind the windy nights and cold winters, when balloons froze to trees or popped when the temperatures dropped. Inside Frank's warehouse were birthday balloons, baby balloons, graduation and retirement balloons, plain, spotted, and polka-dotted balloons. They drifted above Frank and a big, happy balloon family. Theo liked the thought of hundreds of balloons hovering above like a big cloud. But Zeke said the balloons only reminded Frank of all the special occasions he had missed due to the odd hours he kept. Frank starts every shift at sunset with a cup of coffee and a long sigh, said Zeke. But lately Frank had begun to tinker with the robot parts he had collected. When he is done tinkering, he starts his truck and circles the city. He finds balloons in trees, balloons on pathways, and balloons in fountains. Balloons love fountains. Zeke told Theo everyone loved Chicago, including Frank. But by the time Frank arrived anywhere, it was dark and all the excitement was over. Frank wanted to see the crowds, smell the hot dogs, and hear the children cheer at the big game. Theo felt sad for Frank, for his loneliness and his long nights. He wanted to tell Frank to go ahead and build a robot, and that his mom said if you believe in yourself, you can do anything. He wanted to tell Frank all of this, but he didn't know how. So in the morning, he asked his brother. Zeke was certain there was only one way to get a message to Frank. He grabbed one of his 3 balloons, an orange one, and told Theo to hold it between his hands. Then Zeke took a thick black marker and wrote a message on the balloon. "Dear Frank," it said, "good luck with your robot, from Zeke and Theo." The brothers went outside and let the balloon go. It floated away, dodging trees, buildings, and birds, drifting in the breeze until it disappeared. Zeke said it was lucky they had an orange balloon, because orange balloons are faster than any other color of balloon. It would only take a day for their message to reach Chicago. That evening, as the boys were getting ready for bed, Theo said he hoped the balloon hadn't popped when the air pressure changed. Zeke told Theo not to believe everything he heard. Theo climbed into bed. "Zeke, has our balloon made it to Chicago yet?" he asked. Zeke said that after Frank had finished his coffee and loaded his tools into his truck, he spotted their bright orange balloon stuck in a tree. He pulled Twister out and brought the balloon down, and when he read our message, for the first time in a long time, Frank smiled. Zeke said Frank was happy because finally one of the balloons was for him. With their balloon in hand, Frank made his way back to the warehouse. He spent the rest of the night doing what he should have been doing a long time ago. He tinkered and tinkered until his robot was no longer a dream. The end. Hope you liked it. Bye. See you next time.